For what seems like forever, the hobby has always had scandals come and scandals go. Whether it was Operation Bullpen with the fake autographs, Mantle, Ruth, DiMaggio, you name them, to WeWag scandal with the fake PSA slabs, to PWCC and all the stuff they did, to now this Brent Lemieux autograph scandal that just happened recently. One thing always holds true is that the hobby moves on. Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Cardboard Coach Neil. I have been away from the hobby for a little over a week. I just got back yesterday. A nice week with my family in good old sunny Florida, where I don't think it was as humid and hot as it was up here in the Northeast. Go figure. It was certainly hotter, definitely sunnier, but the humidity in this area, it's pretty brutal. But I'm glad to be back. Didn't have a lot of chance to watch YouTube. I did miss some of it, including a couple of Hobby Palooza episodes that I'm going to catch up on. Was able to watch a little bit when I had some time and make some comments, but I'm looking forward to watching a lot of that content when I have some time. But I figured I wanted to make a video real quick, talk about some recent pickups, but also that autograph scandal that just happened. Because one of my pickups, coincidentally, it kind of doesn't really make my, doesn't make me shudder or anything like that. I'm not a big autograph collector, and what I did buy prior to the scandal, I am 99.999% certain I would have bought it anyway, just based on what I know. But yeah, I want to show some pickups, talk about that, talk about a couple things that have just been on my mind. I know a lot of people were talking about flipping and how flipping is kind of bad for the industry, and I'll get back to that. But let's see some pickups. Okay, the first thing I want to show you guys is an item that I showed before, but I wanted SGC to correct it, which they did. I will say this, dealing with Brent Martin and SGC is a breeze. I had a postcard, which I'm going to show right here. This is a dear friend, St. Louis Cardinals postcard. And this is, now it's correctly labeled as 1953 to 1955, as you can see. Great looking card. I really, I just like this kind of stuff. And when I first got it, it just said postcard. Now I was almost 100% certain, because you're never really 100% in this hobby, that it was 1953 to 1956, but they agreed, and they did label it free of charge. Anyone thinking about sending SGC something to relook at, I highly recommend it. Very, very professional. This was shipped to them on them, and glad to have this one back. This is part of the PC. I kind of, you don't even realize you're doing it, but I do have a number of Stam Usual items, dare I say oddball, which, by the way, I find the term oddball very, very endearing and completely, I'm okay with it. It's I don't find it demeaning at all. But that's the first thing. Included in that order was something I hoped was, mainly I hoped was just going to be graded authentic, which it was. But I had an outside hope that there would be a number. I think if there was a number, this would have been anywhere from 3 to 5. It's a great, great image of Joe DiMaggio. I mean, I love this thing. Now, as you can see, this is authentic. The minimum size is not met. It's a 1937 Wheaties Series 9 Joe DiMaggio. Let me see if I can get rid of some of the glare there. But just tremendous, beautiful color. A great image of Joe DiMaggio in his prime. The Series 9 is a little bit different than some of the other Wheaties panels, so I really couldn't figure out, how they were going to do this. I know the surface is very, very clean. It was cut extremely well, which is why it probably got minimum size not met. But regardless, I was fine with this. Again, that's what I was really hoping for, that it was just authentic. And I knew it would be, but you know what? Why not? Here's the back. Just a typical inside of a cereal box. But these things, as much as I liked it raw, I will say this. I'm a big fan of the tuxedo. I think this thing really, really pops with this, inside of this slab. So I'm very, very happy with that. That is the 1937 Wheaties Joe DiMaggio Series 9 Authentic. Highly recommend grabbing one if you can. A couple smaller purchases. As I stated before, I'm a big fan of the J Publishing set. These, and I'm still trying to figure out a lot of the stuff, a lot of the nuances. I think these are like 63 to 65, all of them. But you got Frank Robinson, and these, again, these are perfectly fine the way they are, even though you could get them authenticated or graded, but there's really no reason to. Sandy Koufax, great image of Koufax right there. And of course, Juan Marichal, one of the best pitchers, I believe the winningest pitcher of the 60s, great image of a great Hall of Fame pitcher, keeping up with the J Publishing. These are kind of unique. They kind of fit with what I've been doing. And this is a 1965 J Publishing postcard of Yogi Berra. And the seller was kind enough, actually not kind enough, it was a, kind of come to think of it, the auction was for a lot of 2 Yogi Berra postcards. So there's one behind this. Both have that postcard back, which I really, really enjoy having. There's something about postcards, I've always liked them. And these 2 are no exception. This is something I have considered sending in. I'm just not really sure. If I send in one, I'm going to send in both and maybe keep one and flip the other, which I will get to in a second. The third thing, which brings me to that autograph authentication scandal. I purchased something on eBay that I kind of been wanting to get for a number of years. I'll talk about that as I bring it up. But these items came with it. A cut of Joe Adcock. Just a, plain simple, not really an index card, but index card type of thing. Joe Adcock, Luke Appling. These came with the card, and Carl Hubble. And, they all check out. Again, I don't think that auto pen is used for any of those examples. But, what do you know? I'm not an autograph guy, but this came with it. Now, the item that I'm talking about is an item I've been looking for about, 10, 12 years, and maybe even longer than that. As a matter of fact, I did an episode with Sammy Thunder and Jason, the Everyday Card Collector, on cardboard and cold ones. Again, fellas, I really appreciate that invitation. I had a blast. But at the very end, they asked me, so hey, what are you looking to do with your collection? I didn't know really what to say, but I thought of the one card I've been looking to own for a while, and that's the an early Jimmy Fox postcard which is what I have. Sometimes cards just present themselves to you. So I'm going to say 10, 12 years ago, I found out about this thing. And I was blown away by the image. To me, I'm a big I love postcards. I love oversized issues. To me, postcards are like the perfect type of item. You know, more cardboard for your buck, right? But this is just a great image of Jimmie Foxx. Now, one of the things I kind of shied away from was the fact that PSA really didn't know what it was. So I kind of never really bought one. But I figured it out on my own just through some research. So as you can see up here, it just says postcard, Jimmie Foxx, PSA DNA. You're wondering where the autograph is. They're usually autographed on front, somewhere over here, personalized. This one just happens to be on the back, which, I would prefer it on the front, no question. However, I think the fact it was on the back, it saved a good deal of money. So, and I look at this image now and I'm like, it is kind of nice without an auto, knowing it's on the back. So Jimmie Foxx was not the first, and he certainly was not the last of players who produced postcards to accommodate autograph requests. Now, based on the style of his socks and his uniform, this photo was taken in 1929 to 1931, okay? Now, a lot of people consider this postcard 1930 to 1932, which would make sense. Yeah, and it is known that Jimmie Foxx himself ordered these postcards to accommodate fan requests. I have not seen one that isn't autographed. So I bought this before I went away, and I remember just because it kind of came up. It was miscategorized, so I knew it was not going to go to eBay authentication. It wasn't listed that way. Had a couple conversations with the seller. We agreed upon a price. He also agreed that he would not ship it out until Wednesday, knowing, I just let him know I'm just not going to, I wouldn't mind having it on a Saturday when I get home, which he did. And so I got this. This was happily waiting for me when I got home. But it's a great card. It's one of my favorite items. And it just kind of, I do have a couple of other Jimmie Foxxes. And sometimes, when you get something like this, you got to ask yourself, am I going to replace this? Or I should say, am I going to replace another Jimmie Foxx or two? And kind of, put the money into something else. I'm not sure because, the other Jimmie Foxx I'm considering is that Wirt cigar, kind of letting it go, but it's just a great piece. So I'm not really sure, but this one is not going anywhere. I would love to do some more research on this. I think the other reason I got a really good deal is because the autograph grade is an 8. I don't know what that means. I could care less. To me, I mean, I don't know how they grade these things. I guess maybe right in here. But who cares? I mean, to me, this is just a great auto. A great auto. It's just. But people, they want 10s. I don't know. They that's what they want. I don't get it. But I do get it because we're all kind of, we all do our own thing. But these are like real photo postcards. You can see a little bit of a chip up here on that surface. But I'm just real pleased to own this one. Great detail on that. By the way, Jimmie Foxx was only about 22 years old when this photo may have been taken in 1929. Regardless, even if it wasn't until up through 31, based on the uniform, he's 25 years old. So what a career he had. just a real nice card. So those are the recent pickups. And so, yeah, I hope you like those pickups. With this autograph scandal that has happened, I guess, or coming to light in recent days, it's really kind of, unfortunately, it's nothing new. The hobby, I remember as a young collector looking for a Pete Rose rookie, hearing right after I got my first ever Pete Rose rookie up at Mid-Atlantic Coin Exchange in 1981. That was a great shop for those of you who may remember that. I don't know if any of my subscribers are from this area, but if they are and they're of my age, they probably remember that shop. But shortly thereafter, reading in hobby publications that there were a number of Pete Rose counterfeit baseball cards being put into the hobby. And then it just moved on. I mean, the hobby moves on. PSA, they started, their very first card, T206 Wagner, trimmed. The very first card, cert number 1. The hobby moves on. I mean, and again, there has been a number of scandals that have plagued the hobby, but it just moves on. And I'm confident it's going to move on with this. I'm not a big autograph collector. And for those of you that are, I would enjoy what you have. Don't give it any second thought. Rest easy, because what you have right now is authenticated by PSA. It becomes a whole different item, in my opinion. And I think most of the stuff that is authenticated by PSA, especially the vintage material, I think it's legit. I think it's some of the newer stuff that isn't. I think some of the Steiner stuff. I think some of the Fanatics, some of these other run-of-the-mill type things. I was always concerned about those, and I would certainly be more concerned about those now. But what are you going to do? I mean, it's just, it is what it is. You got to be diligent in this hobby, just like in life and everything else. In the hobby, you collect what you like, you buy what you can afford, you do whatever due diligence you need to do to justify that purchase, and then you make it. But that's all I got to say about that. So hopefully everyone out there that is feeling whatever, that too passes over. Again, it's just a hobby. But we do spend a lot of money in this hobby. And that leads me to the other comment that I had made, I guess, on the thumbnail and getting started about flipping. One of the things I've been seeing in recent weeks, and again, this has been a topic for the year and a half, 2 years I've been watching YouTube. It's been a topic on message boards, and that's talking about flippers. And a lot of people have a very strong negative type opinion of flippers. I'm the exact opposite. I welcome flippers. Flippers do invaluable work for collectors like myself, like you guys. They will go out and unearth, items that we are looking for. They will get these items graded, and then they will sell them. And that's what they do. And if it wasn't for them, we may not have some of the more cherished pieces in our collection. So, I mean, they do a service, and I have no problem paying for that service, if it's something I'm looking for. Same with dealers. Again, some dealers are also flippers, and that's their business model, and I have no problem doing that. We all like going to shows, and the National is coming right up. The National would not exist if it wasn't for flippers and if it wasn't for dealers, because without those, there wouldn't be a show. Dealers and flippers, they're not the same, but they are similar. So I'll just say dealers. Dealers would not set up at my local firehouse shop or the Philly show. There would not be a local card shop, and there certainly would not be a national if there wasn't some money to make by selling baseball cards. It just wouldn't happen. Now, dealers put a lot of time in. They put a lot of work. Besides the expenses of traveling, of hotel rooms, of the table costs themselves, there is the countless hours they have of pricing, the hours they have of setting up, and you know what? They're gonna charge. They're gonna charge for that. So hopefully people remember that. I'm not saying they're going to make huge amounts of money, but I'm also not someone who's going to walk away from $150 card. I'm just using that as an example, when they sell for $125 on eBay. You take out shipping and you take out the time it takes to ship and all that other stuff, and plus being able to buy right then and there, it's worth the $25. And again, I'm just using that number as an example. But flipping is just kind of the same thing. I mean, some of the cards in my collection, I bought from flippers. I'm not talking about flippers that bought something in REA or Heritage or eBay the day before and are now charging double on some of the Facebook groups. I'm talking about people that are going out and they're buying collections, or they're buying this or that, taking the time to get them graded and then offering them, all in a relatively short amount of time. Is that a flipper? I don't know. Is that a dealer? I don't know. I mean, but sometimes both terms are tossed around simultaneously. You get them mixed up. Getting off that topic, sometimes we are flippers ourselves. For those of us that do sell, like myself, it's not a question of making a profit. It's more of a question of, I'm a little bored. I'm a little bored with, the Focus, with the PC, or I see something shiny and new and I want to try to get that item. So, there's a lot of moving parts to kind of figure out as to come up with the true definition of a flipper, and am I one? It's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. As a matter of fact, like I've said before on one of my other videos, flippers are essential to this hobby, and I'll leave it at that. So again, for everybody out there that's like myself shortly, hopefully everyone is enjoying Hobbypalooza. Hopefully everyone is getting excited for the National. I'm excited to watch some of the videos and some of the content that is going to be shared. The only thing I kind of wish I was attending, just to go to that trade night and just to meet a bunch of other collectors and a bunch of other YouTubers, guys that I have watched for a long time. It'd be cool to meet those guys. Hopefully one day soon. But until then, buy what you like, buy what you can afford, and we will talk soon. Take care.